as you know, I predicted exactly what the court would do, knowing nothing, focus on Section 5, that Congress has to do this because you need procedures, you need to know what the standard of proof is, you need to know whether it's trial by jury, all of those kinds of things. So it was the right decision. And then you get Keith Olbermann behaving like a Ku Klux Klan, saying we ought to dissolve the Supreme Court because we don't like its decision. And you get my former student, Jamie Raskin, saying, well, why don't we circumvent the Supreme Court's decision, basically, and go to Congress and maybe have a congressional ruling that he can't serve, even though he can run, that he can't serve. I mean, the extremists on the left are trying everything to undercut American would happen if, in fact, if Trump were to win overwhelmingly, and then the Democrats controlled Congress and they were to vote under Section 5 of the 14th Amendment that he can't serve, that the man who was elected overwhelmingly can't serve. It would destroy American democracy, and that's what Jamie Raskin and Lawrence Tribe and Judge Michael Ludick are trying to do. And they say that it's in the name of democracy. No, democracy allows me to vote against Donald Trump for the third time. That's my right. You have the right to vote for him for the third time. But that's not something the court should be deciding.
You hit on something that I think is so relevant about what it is happening and why, when we look at these live pictures of Super Tuesday, it is democracy in action, Professor Dershowitz. It does feel like some on the left, Jamie Raskin and others, and the way they talk about the Supreme Court, almost as if they're operatives, it is as if they want to tear down our Constitution, our foundation, the founding fathers. It does seem like at times, with these activist judges as well, that we are under attack here.
Well, I think people like Jamie Raskin believe the Constitution was written for the Democratic Party and for the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Due process for me, but not for thee. Free speech for me, but not for thee. Fair elections for me. But the Constitution is for everybody. And the Supreme Court was right in ruling 9-0 that state by state, you can't deny the voters the right to decide who they want to be president. And I don't think Congress should be denying voters the right to decide who should be president. That's up to the voters. That's what the framers of our Constitution intended.
Yes. Well, let's now talk a little bit about Georgia, because there's been a new development there today, Professor. Fani Willis, the district attorney in Fulton County, her fate, of course, hangs in the balance after she hired a lover to be the prosecutor. Well, now, this week, the new development is that another Georgia prosecutor has come forward to offer testimony against her, saying that when they said on the record when their relationship began that it was actually not accurate, they're now obviously going to be called into question. This is a huge new development, and Judge McAfee has a decision to make. How do you think he will weigh in?
I can tell you how he should weigh in. He should reopen the hearing, because there's not only evidence, the way I understand it, that this Cobb County prosecutor has new evidence on whether the relationship was perjurously described as having started later, but also there's a suggestion that there may have been a phone call to one of the witnesses, tampering with witnesses and obstructing justice, telling them not to speak and not to testify. That's a very, very serious crime if that can be proved. And so I've called for a special prosecutor to prosecute, to investigate and look toward the possibility of prosecuting Fani Willis for perjury, for conspiracy to commit perjury, and now possibly for witness tampering and obstruction of justice. I think the focus has to be on her. She is an elected official, and what she's done is the office. Whether she turned it beyond that criminal conduct is something a special prosecutor should look into.
Prosecutor investigating a prosecutor here, the highest ranking legal person in Fulton County. Incredible where we have come. Professor Alan Dershowitz, got to leave it there, sir. I appreciate you as always, but especially today with so much happening in the world. Thank you for your analysis.
Thank you.
Thank you.